Okay, perfect. So call the meeting to order. So then we will start with the land acknowledgement, please.
We would like to acknowledge that the capital region is located on Treaty 1 territory, the ancestral lands of the Innu, Anishinaabe, Nisinimu, Dene, Dakota, and Nakota, and is the homeland of the Red River Métis. We also acknowledge Shoal Lake 40, Treaty 3 territory, sources water to the city of Winnipeg. We are committed to working in collaboration and partnership with First Nations and the Red River Métis in the spirit of truth and reconciliation.
Thank you. We'll then seek approval of the agenda before us, please. Thank you, Shane, for moving. Thank you, Krista, for second. Any questions or additions, deletions? I understood that there may be potential for an agenda addition.
In new business about hiring of an interim executive director.
Anything else?
Sandra, anything? Okay.
Yeah. What was it?
The offices.
Oh,
As far as location?
yeah. Put the offices on there too, please.
Okay.
New location.
So we're gonna add two to new business. We'll have 8A, hiring of intern executive director, and 8B, office location. So to the mover of the agenda, are you okay as amended?
Yeah.
To the seconder, you're okay as amended? Okay, then all in favor as amended, please. Thank you. Thank you. That is unanimous and carried. We then have adoption of meeting minutes of March 19th, 2026. Motion for the minutes, please. Thank you, Ken. Second, please. Thank you, Delmer. Any questions? Comments? None heard then, all in favor? That is unanimous and carried, thank you. Approval of consent agenda. There are two items there. First of all, there is the letter from the province of Manitoba, which has to do with the increase to contribution of some $60,000 and change. And second, the guide from Bill 33. So motion for approval of consent agenda, please. Thank you, Krista. Second, Shane. Any questions? None being heard then, all in favor? And that is unanimous and carried. I put an extra item in there, board chair comments. I asked Natalie for permission to do this. I just thought a couple things here. First of all, I just wanted to thank the search committee for the work that's being done in regards to the executive director position. Just wanted to say formally a thank you. And then I know there's been some questions maybe from those that aren't part of the board that are watching online as to just kind of where we're at or where we're going. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Myron, recently elected here as the board chair. What this board has been busy doing in this last year is trying to get the plan ready to meet a January 1st, 2027 deadline. So there's been a variety of workshops, meeting with various, with the Minister of Municipal Affairs as individual board members that represent the people to which they serve. And now we're trying to get this plan written. So over the next 6 or 7 months, what we're going to be doing is looking at various drafts as they come through so that we can make a public presentation, so that we can then get to the public hearing process, so that we can eventually get it to the government for approval by the 1st of January. We'll then go to business arising from the previous board meeting, and there is a planning report.
Correct.
Natalie.
Yeah, so at the last board meeting in March, there was a request by a director to review the terminology included in the CPR bylaw as it relates to the regional plan. Staff undertook that review over the last month and provided this report discussing our findings. We did find that there was room for improvement of the definitions, so to improve consistency and interpretation. So we have put forward a recommendation that the CPR bylaw be amended just to reflect a definition that is included here in the recommendations. So that definition would now read, a regional plan means the plan document formally adopted by the CPR by bylaw. And if that is in accordance with what the board would like to do, that would be required a motion to move that and amend our bylaw.
Someone prepared to so move? Delmer, second. Krista, questions?
Make those changes.
Okay, none heard then, all in favor, please? Opposed, if any? No, unanimous and carried is how I see that, thank you. That then takes us to the new business. We had hiring of interim executive director. Whoever wishes to speak to that, please. And if we need to go in camera because it is an HR matter, whatever questions we want to ask during the general meeting, we can, but we can do more as it relates to HR in camera if we believe we still need to do that.
I'd like to thank Natalie for her assistance, making sure everything coordinated. And we did meet with this recommended interim director. And we did, go
Mr.
ahead.
Chair, let's move into camera, please.
Yeah, I think with HR, now because we did have office location, just in light of how the streaming goes for people,
Sure.
I can just say that what we're gonna do is we will finish this part, and then when we move into camera, it's not like you need to hang around, because all we're gonna be doing afterwards is adjourning, just for those that might be watching. So with office location, is it okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Or if we would do the other part in camera and we go to B?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Oh, sorry, we're gonna do the office location not in camera?
Do you want to do office
Yeah.
location? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
so that we can do that as part of the regular meeting?
Yeah, absolutely.
So did you want to speak to that?
Just staff had mentioned we're coming up on our end of our lease,
Yes,
and we need to either start looking or decide we're gonna stay here.
yes.
So I think we should probably start moving on that a little bit. It's 8 months away, but it's still tomorrow.
Do we have to do a study? Do we have rationale for why we think we should go or why we should stay?
I think there are different reasons of staying and leaving. There are, financial considerations, location considerations, things like that. So I think that is a discussion we could have. The lease is expiring at the end of this year, so this is something that will need to be moved and actioned fairly quickly. If we do want to move, there will be needing a search of some sort to look for an appropriate space. So there are things just to consider in terms of what we want to do moving forward, so.
Anyone else have comments on that?
Although we just have to make sure that for the board members and, well, not necessarily staff, because a lot of the staff don't need the parking requirements, but the rest of the board members, that's very important to us, is ample parking. And especially for our guests that are coming to the meeting.
Okay. Do we believe we have parking requirements here that are okay?
Yeah, there's no,
Yeah.
From what I understand from the staffing point of view, and Natalie, correct, wrong, we did have some conversation about this, is that proximity to work for staff in this location is reasonable. I'm not sure preferred is even an answer depending on, I guess, where else might be found. But something to take into consideration is there's those that are using various means of transportation other than a personal vehicle to get here. So what would that do to the logistics of their day? Just one consideration, and then cost. I'm not sure if we feel this is cost prohibitive being here, I don't know.
It depends on what we want in terms of the office space itself. There are options that are more cost effective, given the budgetary possible constraints that we're facing the next year or two. We are thinking about that. It's not overly high in terms of cost, but it is something I think we just need to think about. We've thought of different scenarios where, do we need this big board table? Perhaps there are other locations we can rent on a monthly basis that could be satisfactory for board meetings. So there are different scenarios we could play out, but that just takes a bit of a conversation to determine needs.
And as far as the saving that we're hoping to achieve,
Right.
like, are we talking, we could maybe save $1,000 a month, $500 a month? Do we have any expectation of what that might look like?
At this point, we've done a very cursory search, so there are places that we could do some cost savings. There are some spaces that we looked at that would, in the long term, be more cost effective. There might be some retrofitting of the space needed in the interim, but then in the long term, they are more cost effective. But again, that search hasn't been thoroughly done yet. That was something we were just kind of starting to dabble into, but it's something we would need to move forward with if that's something we want to do.
And to stay here, the lease expected to be signed would be a year or
3.
3?
Well, that was the terms of the previous lease agreement.
Has there been any forewarning that the lease cost in this facility may go up?
Not yet, but I
Not
would
yet,
suspect
okay.
it would. It has gone up the last.
Every
lease
time
agreement.
there's been
Yeah.
due? Okay.
This building also requires us to pay for, infrastructure that may not be ours. For example, the hot water tank, things like that. So there's some things we can look into, but
Do we have HOA responsibilities for the greater complex, such as parking lot repairs or roof repairs on structures?
not that I'm aware of, no.
Natalie, would you know when they would let you know the cost of the new lease here? So that we could then compare it with going somewhere else?
Not yet.
Okay.
I'm just going on previous experience. It was about 6 months out. So I just suspect in the next couple months we'll
Yeah.
be getting some warning about
I would
that.
hope so, yeah.
We could reach out if that's.
Well, I think if we're looking at something else to compare with, we need to know what we're gonna deal with here, that's all.
Absolutely.
And then I'm just also trying to think of timeline. We have a fairly short timeline in getting this plan together.
Yes.
And we have an executive director position that we're looking to fill. So I'm just also cognizant of other duties such as lease that may add to the workload. I'm not saying no, I'm just, so,
Timing.
because my question would be like, who? If we're gonna search a combination of board members with staff, board members only.
So far, staff have been undertaking that. So there's been a very, like I said, cursory look. In the past, we've hired a commercial real estate agent, so we can follow that path with some board involvement. I think that would be sufficient. And then we could report to you in terms of what we saw. But in the workloads capacity wise, that is something that we'll have to talk about, but that's the greater conversation I think to be had.
I'd like to say again, I appreciate the fact that we're dealing with this now. It's not last minute. So I think as we move forward with this, if we can just keep it in mind that we're trying to do this, I think it's important. Maybe you'll come upon something on your own as well, right?
So would it be reasonable to ask that staff continues to search to see if there's like 2 or 3? It'd be nice to have 3, like this place plus at least 2 or 3 other options.
Some comparables,
Yeah.
just to see what
Yeah.
might work.
So to ask that it's on the staff to-do list for now, I guess we would need some kind of a direction by motion here, but I'm just spitballing ideas here. And then at our next meeting, if that's doable, if not by June, because as we slip into summer, now we're in September and now we're getting close up against it, especially with elections and everything like that coming up. I think we'd want to have some kind of an answer by our June meeting, if
Yeah,
the
that's
board thinks
reasonable.
that's reasonable.
That's reasonable from a staffing perspective. So we'll try to informate
Yep.
if we have some.
Yeah, and if there's a commercial real estate that, hey, there's 2 are coming up or 3 are coming up and kind of list the pros and cons, I don't know. Did I, Sandra, oh, she's just scratching your hair. Did you have your hand up? Okay,
But now that you mentioned my name, I think it's smart to start looking now. So thanks Natalie for putting that on the table. Does it make sense then for staff to maybe work with a commercial real estate agent to come back to the board with some options, including the space that we're currently in?
yeah, I know that from dealing with real estate, I don't know what they do with commercial real estate, but if they do what's called an opinion of value, they would generally have 2 or 3 comparables and give you like a 1 or 2 page document that says, okay, so this one has this much square feet at this much rent. There might be an HOA, there might be parking, there might be this or that or whatever. No boardroom, some of the amenities, they might have a bit of a matrix or a spreadsheet or something.
Yeah, I think it's important that staff identify what they need in a space because they're there every day. So they should have a list of what they require to function.
At the same time, also don't want to save $500 to burden staff with more out-of-pocket expenses themselves just to get to work.
No, I-
Does that mean I can move forward with engaging a commercial real estate agent to support this?
I would be in agreement with that as well. I think it's a good time. I know it's not a good time because we got a lot of irons in the fire. But
Is there ever a good time in municipal government?
no, there's never a good time. But at
Well,
least at this point in time, we're seeing something restarting and everything else is going, it may be a good idea and I would support that. I'm looking at
Especially
least.
with prices escalating, we may be shocked when we see the
Yeah.
lease.
And again, the terms of the agreement too, like if it's a 3-year term versus a 1-year or 2-year, I think that's something that has to be considered.
Potential wording for a motion would be, motion is for staff to engage in the search for potential alternate lease space, to gain financial information on what the existing lease for this space must be, plus getting a minimum of 3 other options presented to the board. 2?
2, 3?
3.
3?
Yeah.
We'll aim for
We
3.
want it like that, Myron, or do we?
You can word it
do we
differently.
wanna, word it so that they can engage with a commercial real estate agent
Yes.
to do the work.
That's good. I like
Yeah,
And if you've got ideas already that you guys have looked at, that you can kind of point them in.
that.
so to ask staff, including engaging with the commercial real estate agent so as to provide to the board
Yeah.
lease space for this that will be renewed at what price, plus 3 alternates.
So engage a commercial real estate agent to search
3 alternate
the alternate.
lease spaces for the capital planning region.
Okay.
Plus also what this space would be. So if we're good with the wording, then I would ask if someone's prepared to make that motion.
I'll move it.
Okay, thank you, Krista. Ken, second. Any questions, comments? Okay, all in favor? None opposed, if any? Okay, I got unanimous and carried on that. Thank you. So as far as that portion, I think the rest would need to be done in camera. So I'll take a motion then to move in camera. Shane, thank you. Second. Delmer, thank you. Okay, so then I'm just gonna wait for Okay, so then all that's left on the meeting then is to adjourn. Please take a motion to adjourn.
I'll move it.
Krista, thank you. Shane, thank you. All in favor? Unanimous and carried, thank you. Okay, so